Okay, so now we're getting ready to discuss method 2 of subtracting mixed numbers, which is called borrowing. When I borrow, it usually means that the second mixed number's fraction is bigger than the first. So for my first example, I'm going to have 4 minus 3 over 8. Remember, I always tell you guys to write it vertically in your first step. So when I write it vertically, I can see that there is no fraction behind my whole number. Well, in math, we can't subtract from what we can't see. So what I'm going to do is make 4 so that it actually looks the same as 3/8, then we can go ahead and subtract. So this is what I'm going to do to my 4. I'm going to borrow 1 whole from my 4. So if I take 1 from 4, that leaves me 3. But I can make a fraction out of 1 whole by using the denominator of 8 and saying, okay, 8 over 8. This number together still will give me 4. Okay? Now, even if I was to change this into an improper fraction, I would still get 4 out of the answer. So, now what I'm going to do is just move my fraction all the way over here. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3/8. Once I subtract 3, there's no whole number here, so I'm subtracting 0 from it, would be 3. And I'm going to subtract 3 from 8. Keep the same denominators, remember, because when the denominators are like, all we're going to do is subtract the numerators. So that gives me 5 over 8. Yeah. Let me show you one more example. So let's say we had 4 and 1/3, and I wanted to subtract 1 and 2/3. Obviously, this fraction is bigger than this fraction. So we're going to change 4 so that this fraction is big enough for us to subtract from. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to write it vertically, because that's how we always want to write them. Oh, excuse me, that's supposed to be 2/3. All right, now I'm going to change 4. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to say 3 plus 1, because 3 plus 1 is obviously 4. But then I'm going to keep my fraction at the end of the 1. Okay? Now I'm going to change this part into a mixed number to where I would get 3, or improper fraction, excuse me, where I would get 3 and 4/3. Okay? Now I can bring this 1 and 2/3 all the way over here, and I'm able to subtract because this fraction up top is bigger than the one that is going to be on the bottom. So when I subtract 1 from 3, I get 2, and I subtract 2 from 4, I get 2 again. So the answer is 2 and 2/3. And let's try one more example. All right. Again, I'm going to say 8 and 2/5, and I'm going to subtract 3 and 4/5. And as you can see, this fraction is bigger than this fraction. So I have to change the 8 2/5 so that this fraction is bigger. So I'm going to say 7 plus 1, because of course that's 8, and I'm going to keep my fraction. Okay? Now I'm going to take this part and turn it into an improper fraction. So now that becomes 7 and 7/5. I'm going to subtract my 3/4 by writing it vertically. And now I can subtract. So 7 minus 3 is 4, and 7 minus 4 is 3. And of course, I want to always make sure that I can't simplify my fraction anymore, and I can't because there's no greatest common factor between 4, 3, and 5. Okay? And that's how you subtract mixed numbers using borrowing.